It's no secret that TJ loves the university. He rocks the Razorback gear even when he's on the subway in his home in New York. Since then, UAMS researchers have been studying the effects of this on other states, but they noticed that none of the other states did any baseline research on how the public felt about this. So while the football program is receiving an extensive amount of funding, students and faculty can rest assured it's not coming out of their pockets. Kentucky, Indiana, and now Arkansas are the only states in the country to have these new requirements, which has some people worried about if they'll lose their coverage. I'm live right outside of Seven Hills, which is right around where UAPD patrols and which is where I was earlier today tagging along. And it's also where I found out that this forest behind me is filled with more than just trees and furry friends. This isn't a sound you would normally hear by 19th Street or Nonamaker, the two pathways that lead into the forest that shelters countless homeless people.
We get them from California, Portland, New York, all over the United States. They come here, and we're still not 100% sure why, but they like to come here. So.
While they have diverse backgrounds, Lieutenant Velasco says they share a pretty similar mindset.
That's a sign for white power, Aryan brotherhood.
Is that a big thing out here?
Very much so.
Velasco says he talks to 15 to 20 homeless people a day just to check in on them.
You all right?
I've been out here for years. I'm fine.
But he's only seen 3 African Americans, which means the violence problem doesn't stem from race, but something deeper. Where do you think the violence stems from out here?
Mental illness, alcohol, narcotics.
Christopher Path is one of those people who struggle with mental illness and who has had a violent outbreak causing him to go to jail and eventually end up here.
It was basically domestic, I guess you would consider that kind of like domestic violence, but because of, I had come to find out how impulse control disorder. It's where when you get too angry, you black out, you don't know what you're doing.
And he's not the only one. Violence is extremely common in these woods, and Velasco says he's seen it all.
The other side of the road over there, homeless lady, she pulled a knife on me.
And what'd you do?
Told her to drop the knife.
He says the deeper you go into the forest, the worse it gets, but the homeless can always turn to Seven Hills for help.
I first went to Pat Walker when my friend passed away in September, and I thought I needed some help getting over the trauma of the event. And then I had another friend pass away in April, and I again thought I needed help getting over the trauma of that event, and so I started going to CAPS.
CAPS stands for the Counseling and Psychological Services at the University of Arkansas. And a student at the university who prefers to remain nameless sought out the service to help improve her mental health after the death of 2 of her friends.
My experience was great up until they couldn't handle it anymore.
It was the 3rd death in this young student's life that she thought caused the CAPS Center to turn their backs on her.
I went there after my grandmother was murdered in her home in Dallas, and I started just feeling unsafe in my own house, and I just got very depressed, and my grandmother was a big staple in my life, and to lose her brought a lot of anxiety and a lot of other depressing feelings for me. And they told me that the events had built up so much trauma in my life that they thought I needed some outside help that Pat Walker did not have the time to give me.
I followed up with the Assistant Director of Communications at the Pat Walker Health Center, Zach Brown, to figure out how something like this could happen.
We don't have necessarily the resources to see every single student ongoingly forever. As much as we wish we could, we have to understand the limitations that we have from a space issue. Obviously, once we finish the renovations in the health center, we're going to double the size of CAPS. We're going to be allowed to bring on new mental health clinicians.
But Brown says they won't leave patients high and dry without recommending them on where to go.
If there is something specific or specialization that someone in the community has, we want to obviously provide them with a community referral that's going to best suit them.
But for this student, it didn't necessarily help.
The places that they had offered me to go were $300 per visit there, and that's just too insane for a college student to afford.
Well, while the CAPS Center can't help students with the cost of private therapists, they are able to reduce the cost of their counseling sessions or even make them free.
What's your name and where are you from?
My name is DJ Demers, and I'm from Canada.
DJ from Canada.
DJ Demers grew up like any other child with 2 sisters and 2 loving parents.
But as he grew older, he started developing ear infections, which led him to start wearing hearing aids at the age of 4. But he's never been the type to feel bad for himself or look for pity from others.
People want to hear that narrative, like I overcame adversity. I guess I did, but my parents just were like so positive that they didn't really ever make me feel like life was a challenge. So I was probably overcoming adversity without really ever thinking about it.
He took that positivity from his parents and moved all the way from Canada to LA to become a comedian.
Let me be real with you for a second. I did heroin.
He bounced from stage to stage until he landed on his idols, Conan O'Brien.
When I take these hearing aids out, talking time is over. Sleeping time has begun. We even have a little ritual we do now where before I take them out, I make like a last call.
Now he does shows 320 days out of the year and quit his job to be a full-time comedian. But he does admit sometimes there is a struggle.
I love talking to the crowd, and sometimes I can't hear them. But I don't want to not talk to the crowd because those are my favorite moments. I'm very bad at being deaf.
Even though it's hard at times, he knows his comedy serves a bigger purpose than just making people laugh.
A couple people who didn't even have hearing disabilities, they had other disabilities, came up and said they felt empowered hearing me talk about my hearing aids up there. And that's really cool. That's like I said, not why I got into it, but makes me feel good every time I have those conversations.
Dick's Sporting Goods, Walmart, and now Kroger are the 3 major power players in this movement. And the press release from Dick's Sporting Goods that you're seeing on your screen right now, you can see that they not only ban people under 21 from buying guns from them, they're also completely banning the sale of assault-style rifles, high-capacity magazine, and bump stocks. And if you're unsure what a bump stock is, it's an attachment. It's an attachment that enables a semi-automatic rifle to fire faster. And Walmart banned the sale of those bump stocks and assault-style rifles in 2015, and they say that they plan to keep those accessories off of their shelves. And they're also actively taking out anything that looks like an assault rifle, such as non-lethal airsoft guns and toys. And to take it one step further, Walmart now requires customers to pass a background check before buying any type of firearm. And now the Kroger-owned company Fred Meyer will also restrict the sale of guns to anyone over 21. And while the movement is growing, some people don't see any major changes happening.
If I wanted to still go get a gun, I could go to any other stores just besides Dick's and Walmart that had it raised. And I just don't find that very effective because I know from 10 miles around here, I'm sure I can go get a gun from multiple stores.
But others took to social media to express their happiness for the trend. This continues to be a hot button issue, and we'll keep you updated as more information becomes available. Reporting for UATV, I'm Clarissa Bustamante. I'm right here in front of the Pryor Center, where Garrett Conley just finished speaking about his experience with gay conversion therapy. But this isn't the first time that he's spoken out. Conley wrote a book called Boy Erased, which details his life living in Cherokee Village right here in Arkansas, but as a pastor's gay son. The book talks about the psychological torture he went through in gay conversion therapy camps, and when I talked to him, he mentioned some of the dark tactics used. One of the tactics is touch therapy, which forces patients to sit on male counselors' laps because they feel like they haven't gotten enough attention from a father figure. And since then, Conley has decided to advocate to stop gay conversion therapy so nobody has to go through what he did.
Regardless of what your political beliefs are, conversion therapy should be a no-brainer. Get rid of it. It's harmful for kids. It doesn't matter if you are supportive of LGBT rights. It is abuse. So that's what we need to focus on.
He said he was happy to work with the Pryor Center so they can document his work and spread the word. Reporting for UATV, I'm Clarissa Bustamante.